Hello friends, I am Mayantika and in this video I will be discussing about the life cycle of Chara. Chara is a green algae that is of much economic importance. The Chara meadows that are found submerged in water are source of food for aquatic invertebrates as well as vertebrates. Say for example, the amphibian, reptile and bird population, aquatic bird population, they feed on chara. Also, it is a source of, it is a shelter plant for many aquatic invertebrates and larvae of fishes. So, this Kara plant, apart from being the shelter of fishes and invertebrate, they are also shelter of many epiphytic algae. Most of them are cyanobacteria. So, Kara also has other important functions like they purify the water. They actually remove impurities from the water column, and also they stabilize the sediment by reducing the nutrient release from the sediment. Thus, any water in which chara is growing is always clean, and chara is never found to be growing in areas where there is a high disturbance frequency or high level of eutrophication. Chara also it is allelopathic to the larva of mosquito. So we see that chara is a very important algae so far its ecological importance is concerned. For all these reasons, it is also a good ecological indicator of clean water. Also, Chara being a pioneer species, Chara cannot be found in eutrophied water where Chara it is succeeded by other angiospermic plants, and Chara dies out due to the shading effect of angiospermic plant that grows luxuriantly in high nitrogen and phosphorus level water. So in this video, I will be discussing about the life cycle of Chara. Some basic facts about Chara. Now, before we go to the life cycle, I would like you to have a revision of what is Chara. See, Chara is a species of charophyte that prefer growing in low temperature. That is why in India we have only 28 species, whereas in the whole world we have 188 species. Though there are certain outliners, say for example, Chara fragilis, it prefer growing in hot water springs, and from this we can easily understand that Chara fragilis is tolerant to high temperature. Also, another outliner is the Chara baltica. Generally, Chara is found to be growing in fresh water, but this Chara baltica it grows in the brackish water. And it is actually Chara baltica is found in the Baltic Sea. So it was isolated from there, and then Chara is found to be mostly growing to a height of 20 to 30 centimeter. But if the conditions are very conducive, certain species of Chara can grow to a height of 1 meter. Now, Chara, it looks like an angiospermic plant when it is not microscopically, but when it is just looked um, from the outside, it looks like that of a angiospermic plant where the body is divided into shoot-like and root-like structures. The shoot is divided into nodes and internodes, and from the nodes arises a whole of branches or leaves or branches of limited growth. So these are the branches of limited growth, and they are found to be growing, they are found to be containing, they are either 6 to 16 in number. And These are this is the general structure. This is the rhizoid of the Chara, and this is the rhizoid, and this portion is called the internode, whereas this portion is the node. So this is the basic of Chara, just a revision. But if you want to have a detailed information about the morphology of Chara, I have made a video of Chara, that is Chara part 1, where I have discussed the morphology in detail, the morphology of Chara, as well as its ecological economic importance. So I'm not going into the basic detail again. Just for as a reminder or revision, I can say that this most species of Chara are corticated, but certain species are ecorticated. What does cortication and ecortication mean? The Chara species, they have two central cells surrounded by 6 to 20 peripheral cells. So these are peripheral cells. This type of arrangement is called corticated arrangement. And if the Chara species does not have this cortication, then it is called the ecorticate species. And this Chara corallina, Chara succinata, Chara wallichi and brownie, they are ecorticated version. Now, when we are talking about the life cycle, we should be knowing that the time of germination, then growth, and later reproduction or senescence all depend not only on environmental cues but also on the particular species. Because in Chara they have annual or perennial species. So annual, they are of two types. One is monocarpic, that is monocarpic, that is it reproduces only once in its life cycle. Another is bicarpic, that is it reproduces only two times in its life cycle. So all these annual species, they whether they reproduce once or twice in their life cycle, their growth rate is faster compared to this perennial species, because they have to complete their life cycle within a single growing season, because they are annual. So most of their effort is not put towards vegetative structure, but it is most of its effort is on the reproduction, that is the oospore formation. But this polycarpic species, as they reproduce several times in their life cycle because they are perennial, so if there is the condition, if there is host condition, if conditions are not conducive for their growth, they can lie dormant in vegetative stage. So due to this dormancy, there is not that much pressure to put all its effort on oospore production. So there is no pressure, such pressure in polycarpic species. So polycarpic species are less dependent upon oospore formation because they have this alternative process, that is the vegetative reproduction in the form of dormancy of shoot bulbils, amylum starch, amorphous bulbils, root bulbils, and secondary protonema. So due to this alternative process, that is a dormant vegetative reproductive stage, the oospore formation, it is less strained. I mean, all effort is not put towards production of oospore in case of this polycarpic species. This is the polycarpic species, that is it reproduces many times. Now this is the life cycle of Chara. Now, Chara, if it is a polycarpic species, then it will under the very harsh condition, it can undergo either sexual or vegetative reproduction, and asexual reproduction is absent in Chara. I should be saying that Chara, the life cycle is haplontic because apart from this zygote, which is 2n, all other stages are n. We see all other stages are n. So this is a haplontic life cycle, and reproduction is either vegetative or sexual, and the asexual reproduction is absent. So we see that it is either vegetative, either vegetative, veggie, or sexual reproduction. There is no asexual reproduction. And vegetative reproduction is in the form of amylum stars, which are star-shaped, these are star-shaped a group of cells which are filled with starch, amylum starch, and these structures, they get, when they get detached, they germinate directly if it is a permanent water pool, or if it is not a permanent water pool and it is dry, then it germinates following the next rain when there is much humidity. Also, it grows as a it perinates in the form of bulbil, which can be single or they can be amorphous. The bulbils are generally much larger size than the amorphous bulbils, and also there are the secondary protoneme. So the Chara reproduces sexually by globule and nucleus. These are the two structures which are the vegetative, which are the sexual reproductive structures. So globule is the male reproductive, and nucleus is the female reproductive structure. They produce the male sperm or antherozoid and egg, which fertilize to form the zygote. Now, for the germination of this zygote, zygote, if the zygote is formed in a permanent water pool, then it germinates immediately. But if it is not a permanent water pool, then the oospore that is formed, the oospore, the oospore the oospore is formed, which is the resting stage. Actually, the zygote, it develops wall which can be either yellow, red or brown colored. This thick wall is for protection of zygote under desiccation condition or very high intensity of sunlight. And this oospore, once it is formed, it settles down to the bottom of the pool, and for the germination, both water and sunlight is required. In the Chara, the germination is not only the germination, but also entire life cycle is dependent upon the light intensity. So I'll come to it later on, but once the oospore is formed, that is all the thick wall is formed around the zygote, then it undergoes meiosis, and after meiosis, the 4 cells that are formed, only 2 remains. I mean, the cell is such a way it is divided that they have a single upper cell with a single nuclei and a lower cell with 3 nuclei. In the lower the cell, two of the nuclei degenerate, and the upper cell, this upper cell, it gives rise to the protonemal initial, which I am denoting by pi, and the rhizoidal initial, which I am denoting by Ri. So this rhizoidal initial and protonemal initial, these together they form a new plant. This is the protonema, this is the new Chara. They together they form the Chara plant. So this is all about the life cycle of Chara, but one thing that is most important is that entire life cycle of the Chara plant is dependent upon the availability of water and sunlight intensity. For example, not only this germination of oospore are stimulated by light, especially the white frequency and the red frequency of light, but also we see the growth pattern in Chara. If Chara is growing in a very high intensity of light, then we see Chara, the growing in high intensity of light, will have very shorter internode as compared to Chara that is growing in deep water, that is in low intensity of light. Low intensity of light growing Chara will have a very diffuse growth pattern. So what are the things we learn from this is that this life cycle is haplontic. It has vegetative reproduction and sexual reproduction, no asexual reproduction. The vegetative reproductive structures are amylum stars, bulbils, amorphous bulbils, and secondary protonema. The sexually reproductive structures are globule and nucleule. Both the globule and nucleule, they have got advanced character of algae because they have a they are not naked organs, just they have a jacket of cells around them, which is considered a very advanced character in Chara, and that only zygote and oospore, these are the diploid stages in Chara. So this is all about Chara, and if you want to know the detail of the vegetative reproduction and the sexual reproduction, I have made separate videos and link that I have put under on the description box. So you definitely go to those videos to get detail, because here I haven't explained in detail, it's just a life cycle. So you go to those videos, I have made separate videos, and thank you for watching this video. Once again, thanks for watching this video, and if you want me to make any new videos, you can always write it in the comment section, or if you want certain you want me to discuss any topic in detail, then you can also, you're free to write in the comment section about the portions that you want me to explain in detail. And if you have any suggestions, then also I'll be very pleased to get those suggestions in the comment section. Thank you for staying with me.